Welcome back to the channel. Today I am doing another one of my YouTube Shorts compilations where I tell you guys my takes and opinions about Power Rangers. This is the longest one yet. This is my fourth installment into this series and it's almost 2 hours. And this might be the last one for now because I'm trying to focus on making better and, I'm going to be honest, unique long form content. So without further ado, let's get into it. What are my least favorite Red Rangers from every era? Now from the Zordon era, me personally, I have to go with the second MMPR Red Rocky. This dude was just such a disappointment all around. His focus episodes were so boring. He didn't really feel like a Red Ranger. He felt like a Ranger who just so happened to wear red. And they really set him up because they really thought he could follow Jason's legacy. But they didn't know what made Jason special. Jason was special because even though he got demoted to second in command on the team, he still felt like an important Ranger. But moving on to the post-Zordon era, and damn bro, all of these Rangers are GOATs. But there is a loophole. There is a sixth Ranger in this era who also wears the color red. And this pains me because the Quantum Ranger is one of my favorite six Rangers. So I'm sorry, he is my least favorite Red Ranger of this era. This hurts, but he was barely a part of the team. He was a loner, and that's a good thing, right? But also a bad thing because it always put him at odds with West and the other Time Rangers. But even though Eric is my GOAT, he has to be the worst Ranger, worst Red Ranger in this era. But on the bright side, he is the greatest sixth Ranger in this era. But in the Disney era, I have the SPD Red Ranger. Now, before y'all jump me, I mean Bridge. Bridge, the SPD Red Ranger from Operation Overdrive, I guess. Bro, I love Bridge, man. Don't get me wrong, but I do not see him as a Red Ranger. I just can't, bro. I couldn't see it. Hell, I could barely see him as the Blue Ranger. And I get they made him the Red Ranger because they couldn't get the other two actors who played the Red Ranger, and I still like Bridge. Bridge is one of my favorite Green Rangers, but him as the Red Ranger, bro, I didn't really care for it because in SPD we had this whole overarching story of Sky trying to live up to his dad's legacy and become that Red Ranger and be that guy. I guess the fact that they gave him some off-screen progression and off-screen promotion kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's nothing really against Bridge. It's the fact that we got all this hype for Sky through the whole series just for him not to even be the Red Ranger on screen for more than a few moments. Like, that actually kind of pissed me off a little. But Bridge is still golden. I love Bridge, one of the greatest Green Rangers. But we can all agree, Jack is the greatest SPD Red Ranger. Fuck it, he's the greatest SPD Ranger we seen on screen. But in the Neo Saban era, we have Ninja Steel Red. Brody is just such a bland Ranger. Like, he's just nothing. And he has an interesting backstory, even though half of it is copied from Tyler from Dino Charge. What the fuck am I talking about? My bad, I'm recording this at like 3 a.m. and I'm hella sleepy, so let me finish this. But like I was saying, Brody was such an intriguing character at first. I can say with confidence, I enjoy his character in the first couple episodes of Lobotomy still. And it just felt like he devolved as a character throughout the whole entire show. Around the last episode mark, I did not give a fuck about his character. Like, there's no way I should be caring about Mick becoming a Ranger more than his dad coming back. That is absolutely insane. Evil Rangers are a top tier Power Rangers archetype. They're golden. I love them. Except for the A Squad and SPD. Bro, what were we doing? Who thought it was a good idea to debut the Planet Fitness Psycho Rangers? Like, this team is so fraudulent. It actually pisses me off. Let's just start off with, most of this team, they're just not important. They don't even have names. The only one that has a name is the first female Red Ranger. Yes, we have our first female Red Ranger from this shitty ass team. And I just feel so bad for Charlie. I'm actually so fucking sorry that they put you on a team with a whole bunch of randoms. Now hold on, I'm not saying Charlie was good either because she was just as ass as her team. She just had a name. She was enjoyable, but I just wish the writers gave a fuck. Like, we're on the second to last episode and you're bringing back the A Squad who exited the show earlier in the show and now they're back in evil. But I low-key don't give a damn because this is the second to last episode of SPD. At this point, they shouldn't even exist. Like, what purpose do they even serve? They barely moved the plot along. What lasting damage did they even cause? SPD would be just fine without the A Squad. Like, they had no impact on the show other than to keep the B Squad out of the Zords for the first few episodes. A Squad has to be one of the biggest fumbles in the Disney era. But let me know what y'all think. What are some Rangers that carried their Power Ranger season? First, bruh, let me start off with Antonio from Samurai. Now, Samurai as a season has the whole fan base divided. We have people who think it's the greatest show of all time, and we have others who think this show is a sin against humanity. See, me personally, I think this show is just a very high tier mid, but I think we can all agree that Antonio is one of the best things to come out of that show. Besides the fact that he somehow managed to connect to the morphing grid with a flip phone, he's also a very fun and entertaining character to watch. Every single episode this dude was in, you always wonder, how is he surviving this shit? Like, he just goes through the most weirdest shit. Like in that one episode of Super Samurai where the Power Rangers swap souls with inanimate objects, he swapped souls with a living fish or a dead fish, I'm forgetting, but he still swapped places with a fish nonetheless. Now he has a fear of fish. You know, his whole motif? Like, dude had a barracuda blade and an octopus zord. You can't make this shit up. Even though shortly after he got rid of that fear, it's still funny and crazy that we had a Ranger scared of his own gimmick. Okay, it's not really funny, but I did like how Power Rangers at least tried to tackle the subject of trauma and how you ultimately can let your trauma hold you back or define you. And so that's honestly a big ups for Samurai. But there's also another episode I would like to mention from Antonio and also Kevin. Do you guys remember that episode when they got oiled up by the Sanzu slime? And until recently, I thought I dreamed that shit up. I thought that was an episode I completely made up in my head as a child. And that episode really showed me that Antonio could have chemistry with anybody. Like, I'm still in shock that a team up between Antonio and Kevin was that good. Like, an episode where the Rangers could barely hold their weapons and could barely fight is one of the best episodes in my opinion. And Antonio is just one of the smartest Rangers of all time. Like I said, he managed to make his own morpher. He somehow managed to connect to the morphing grid, program the black box, and he also learns how to use the symbol power of light and can also move at light speed. But to move on to the next Ranger, if you can count him as a Ranger, I personally do because he was on Orion's morpher, I have Robo Knight. Robo Knight literally put this team on his back since his debut. He was dead ass their get out of jail free card for most episodes. Whether that was him saving their lives or fixing their morphers, they could always rely on Robo Knight unless it's that one episode where he became evil and Troy had to go Super Saiyan and punch the shit out of him. And when Robo Knight eventually died, because you can see that coming from a mile away, I was actually kind of sad. Because what do you mean they killed off one of the best written characters in that show? Yes, the best written character in that show is a fucking robot. But let me know what y'all think. What are the worst Red Rangers according to you guys? For context, a few days ago I put a post out on my channel and I asked, what are your least favorite Red Rangers? And you guys gave a lot of takes and a lot of opinions. So I'm going to go over some of them in this video. And the first one is Nick from Mystic Force. A lot of people actually put Nick from Mystic Force, which is surprising because I halfway agree. I think Nick is annoying and irritating, but also I think that adds a lot of layers to his character because he's not the average Red Ranger who's the most noble dude. He's conflicted, and I think those conflictions, even though it makes him a little bit irritating, also makes him a better Ranger. But back to the comments, I'm going to sum up all of these Nick comments because they all say Nick gave up very easily or he just gave up in general. And yes, I agree. I made a lot of videos clowning him for doing that, but it's never really the main thing I harp on because the context of why he gave up was crazy. He was going through so much trauma at that point in the series, bro. Like, he been through the ringer. And like, let's not forget, bro, he was fighting a damn demon lord, bro, that was basically unbeatable. Even though him giving up was understandable and relatable, Nick as a Ranger not rubbing people the right way didn't help his case when he gave up because he was already seen as annoying as fuck to many people. So they basically gave people a reason to hate him because before this, other than being annoying as hell, what did Nick do to be a terrible Red Ranger? The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is he didn't believe in magic even though he was watching magic all around him, but that's basically just a nitpick. Dude, I can't believe y'all had me defending Nick. I'm never doing that again. But on to the next comment. And this one says, by not picking the obvious one, Troy, I'm going to go with Brody because while he is the leader of the Ninja Steel Rangers, he doesn't feel like a leader to his team. And his story was solved without him trying. You know what, bro? Hell yeah, I wanted a reason to hate on Ninja Steel today, but I didn't have one. So thank you for giving me a reason. And I might take it a step further and say he's worse than Troy. This man, Brody, is an off-brand Tyler Navarro, and you can't tell me shit. Ninja Steel is just Dino Charge, but with ninjas and mediocre. Like, what does Brody actually do? Who does he think he is? Like, he's actually such a boring character. He's not unique whatsoever. He doesn't stand out. He's the most generic Red Ranger ever. It got so crazy. On my rewatch of Ninja Steel, I deadass kept forgetting this dude's name every 5 minutes. Dude, I have to redo this part of the video like 5 times because I kept calling this dude Brandon. And the next couple comments say Troy from Megaforce, and I don't disagree with that. You know what? I agree with this the most, and that's just the way it is. Troy's ass. No explanation, no context, just Troy is ass, and that's all I'm gonna say. But to continue my hate on Ninja Steel just because I can, Troy is better written than that whole team. But let me know what y'all think. Who is the worst 6th Ranger according to you guys? See, a couple days ago, I put a post out on my channel asking for your least favorite 6 Rangers. And bro, I gotta say, you guys did not disappoint whatsoever. But before we get into it, I just have to say, to me, there's no really bad 6 Rangers. There are some better than others, but in the grand scheme of things, no 6 Ranger is really bad. And I think that's because of the nature of just being the 6th Ranger. Look at it like this, when a 6th Ranger is introduced, they bring something new, something fresh, like a new Zord, a new Morpher, and for the most part, they change the show for the best. But let's get to the video. The first comment says, I picked the Omega Ranger from SPD largely because the show dealt him dirty. He had good powers and decent skills, but kind of mediocre showcase. And can I be honest, bro? I completely agree with this comment. The Omega Ranger as a concept should have been better than it was. We have somebody that was introduced to us as a kid. Said kid comes back from the future as a ranger to help the current ranger team. Bro, it's basically Power Rangers future Trunks. Like, he would have been so good, so amazing if they just got an out-of-suit actor for him, bro. And him being an orb of light did not resonate with me at all. That shit was so ass. And I said this in an older video, when he stood around the other SPD Rangers while he was morphed and they were unmorphed, that shit was just so awkward to me. He looks out of place, but that suit is clean. Sam is a nice character. I fuck with Sam a lot, but it would have been nice if he had an out-of-suit actor for more than 5 seconds. And the next one says it has to be Levi because he had no real growth throughout Ninja Steel and also had no real moments to shine and had no aura whatsoever. And I can't believe this, guys. I think I might have to defend Lobotomy Steel. But first, I do agree when you say he has no real growth. I mean, the writers didn't even give him something to grow from. His story boils down to being the long lost brother of Brody, and he's a country singer. That's basically it. So that first part I agree, but he has no aura. Bro, he's a Gold Ranger. They all have aura. It's a mandatory rule as a Gold Ranger. In suit, you have to aura form. And yes, he might be a lame ranger, a boring ranger, but bro, he got that shit on though. He already has one of the cleaner fits on the team. Then he adds on a gold poncho, bro. But does he have aura outside of the suit? Nah, he doesn't, not at all. And the next comment says, Trey of Triforia. Dude was outclassed by Rocky and basically so useless that I'm wondering why his character even needed to exist. I would like to rescind my statement from earlier. You actually found a trash 6th Ranger. And you know, that's on me because I forgot all about him. Like, how does someone use your powers better than you? Jason? Even though I know the Gold Zeo Ranger is not that good in general. You can hate me for that. But Jason really made me like the Gold Zeo Ranger. And I feel Jason would have been better if he just started off as the Gold Ranger in Zeo, even though it makes 0 sense. And with the Rocky thing, even though I'm a Rocky hater, I agree with you 100%. But let me know what y'all think and what color should I do next? I watched a lot of Power Rangers to realize if I was a Red Ranger, I would high-key hate my 6th Ranger. Like, just imagine some random comes out of nowhere with some clean-ass suit with a power set better than yours, and he can also make his own Megazord. And sometimes they're just straight up evil and they can squad wipe your whole team. Tommy Oliver as the Green Ranger pulled up on the other Mighty Morphin Rangers, kicked them out of their Zords, literally removed them from their Zords. Then he proceeds to beat their ass on the ground? Are you serious? Now let's fast forward to Tommy as the White Ranger. He comes back as the White Ranger. Hooray, Tommy is back. Then he just takes the leader spot away from Jason. Jason is a better man than me because if I was in his position, Zordon gonna have to run them ones, bro, like dead ass. And you know what? And I'm going to Rita too. I'm switching sides on y'all. But hey, one thing about Jason, he got his get back. He came back in Zeo as Tommy 6th Ranger. He had a better fit to him. Let's be real, the Zeo Gold suit is beautiful. And another disrespectful 6th Ranger I have to talk about is Eric from Time Force. Rangers. Yeah, that guy, he has a problem. Something is wrong with him. And he's so cool, it's unfair to Wes, bruh. His weapons are better than Wes. His sword is a fucking T-Rex that has a battle mode. And he got his battleizer before Wes. At this point, he's not really a 6th Ranger anymore. He's just a secondary Red Ranger. You know what? That's actually true because he never really joined the team in the first place. And I can't end this video without talking about Ivan's Dino Charge debut. It's so funny, but it's not. Up to this point, Tyler has been looking for his missing dad, and he thinks he has a lead because something glowing is coming out of Fury's chest. Somebody is trying to leave Fury's chest. Finally, the person escapes from Fury. Tyler runs over thinking it's his dad. Whole time it's some random dude. Then Ivan gets up, he morphs and start going crazy. He starts showing us the coolest shit ever. Like, buddy, what do you mean you can fly? His lightning abilities have to be the most visually stunning lightning we ever seen in Power Rangers. This shit got so crazy, he had my boy Tyler looking like a lame, bro. And Tyler is not a lame whatsoever. But this was pre-Dino Supercharge. So you look at his fit and you look at Tyler's fit, and Tyler is just so defeated. But at the end of this episode, Tyler has no dad. His suit is worse than Ivan's, and he can't fly. Tyler, you're still the greatest Red Ranger in this era. You'll always have that. But hey, let me know what y'all think. What non-Red Rangers would be good Red Rangers? Part 2. You guys showed a lot of love to part 1, and I also had no video ideas for today, so here you go. And the quick disclaimer, just because I am saying these Rangers would be good Red Rangers doesn't mean I want to erase or replace the old Red Rangers or the Red Rangers we already have. I'm just saying, in this theoretical context, these Rangers would be good Reds. And to start off, I have Tori from Ninja Storm. You know, I always thought of this. Tori was basically the pseudo leader of the team. And yes, I know Shane always stood in the middle and he got the battleizer, but Tori was really the voice of reason in this whole squad. And let's not forget, she held her own in the fight against all 5 Rangers while they were morphed and she was unmorphed. That's a feat on its own. So yeah, I give it to Tori. She'll be a great Red Ranger. And another one who somehow didn't make it into the first part, I have Taylor from Wild Force. And with this one, I have a little bias, bro. Taylor is at least one of my favorite Yellow Rangers. She's like top 2 to me. And to start off, she's the original leader of the Wild Force team. So the experience of leading the team is already there. And that's all I really need to say for real. But I also want to add some more. She was a pilot in the Air Force, bruh. And a really hot take, Taylor gave me more Red Ranger vibes than Cole. And no, this is not me hating on Cole, bruh. No hate to Cole. He is the undisputed main character of Wild Force. And he's undoubtedly in the top Red Ranger discussion. I'm just saying her mannerisms and how she carries herself is more reminiscent of a Red Ranger from this era. You know, besides Wes, because you know Wes is in the same boat as Cole, a top 5 Red Ranger. But when they took over the team, I wouldn't call them top 5 leaders in Power Rangers. But with all that being said, they're still 2 of my favorite Red Rangers of all time. So let's move on. And the next one is just straight up a theoretical. What if Casey never became the Red Ranger and RJ learned the Tiger Spirit instead of the Wolf Spirit? Now, let's start this off. This is the dumbest idea I've ever had. Before recording this video, I thought of the craziest situation. What if RJ was the Red Ranger? Then I realized, I started thinking a little harder. The show wouldn't even happen. First, without Casey, Jared would not have a reason to crash out. That means the Master wouldn't die, and Daishi would have never been unleashed. So that means Theo, Lily, and Jared would have been regular Pi Schwa students working to get their Master marks. And RJ's here too, I guess. So in short, Jungle Fury would be lame as hell. Well, damn, now I have to think of another Ranger to use. You know what? Fuck it, Ziggy. And I'm not saying Ziggy would be a good Red Ranger because he wouldn't. He would most likely be worse, but since I'm already mad and I messed up my video, let's do it. Now, what if my boy Ziggy got his mitts on a red morpher instead of the green one? In this timeline, the worst timeline, just imagine Dr. K activated and accidentally lost the red morpher. Then Ziggy found it and he morphed. He came forward as the new Operator Red. Now, in this new timeline, I'm giving Vengex 2 hours tops to squad wipe humanity. And for that first hour, he's just going to be laughing. And I know he's a robot, no emotions and all, but he's still going to find a way to laugh at this bullshit. And you know what? Let's make it worse. Let's make Dylan from RPM give in to Vengex. He is now fully a Vengex general. So now Ziggy has to go one-on-one with Dylan. And Ziggy, I'm so sorry. You're one of my favorite Green Rangers, bro, but I need to take my anger out on somebody. But you know, like always, let me know what y'all think. What are my personal least favorite Red Rangers? In the past, you guys told me your least favorite. Now it's my turn to tell you mine. First, let's start off with the SPD Red Ranger. Now, before y'all jump me, I mean Bridge. Bridge, the SPD Red Ranger from Operation Overdrive, I guess. Bro, I love Bridge, man. Don't get me wrong, but I do not see him as a Red Ranger. I just can't, bro. I couldn't see it. Hell, I could barely see him as the Blue Ranger. And I get they made him the Red Ranger because they couldn't get the other 2 actors who played the Red Ranger. And I still like Bridge. Bridge is one of my favorite Green Rangers, but him as the Red Ranger, bro, I didn't really care for it because in SPD we had this whole overarching story of Sky trying to live up to his dad's legacy and become that Red Ranger and be that guy. I guess the fact that they gave him some off-screen progression and off-screen promotion kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's nothing really against Bridge. It's the fact that we got all this hype for Sky through the whole series just for him not to even be the Red Ranger on screen for more than a few moments. Like, that actually kind of pissed me off a little. But Bridge is still golden. I love Bridge, one of the greatest Green Rangers. But we can all agree, Jack is the greatest SPD Red Ranger. Fuck it, he's the greatest SPD Ranger we seen on screen. But moving on, next we have Troy from Megaforce, bro. And no amount of nostalgia could make me like this dude. The writers tried so hard to make this character badass and cool, bro, but he was just a lame. This dude is just straight up a off-brand Jason, bro. He's watered down Jason. They gave bro a whole ass karate background, and I'm not saying as a Power Ranger you can't have a karate background, but you can obviously tell that he was Jason inspired. In his mannerisms, you can see they wanted to make Jason, but they end up making Jody. And they even gave bro that 2010 trademark bad boy leather jacket, bro, like that was gonna make him cool, bro. They were having this motherfucker hit roundhouse kicks on water bottles on a random rooftop for no reason. And if he's in your top 5 Rangers, bro, I am so fucking sorry. Genuinely, bro, you deserve better. And y'all know this couldn't be a Blizzard of Villain slander video without me talking about Ninja Steel, Lobotomy Steel. I hate that show. Like, this show has such a good cast. How did they somehow make a terrible show with this cast? Like, that has to be some type of talent. And the person who seems not to stand out the most is the Red Ranger. Brody is just such a bland Ranger. Like, he's just nothing. And he has an interesting backstory, even though half of it is copied from Tyler from Dino Charge. What the fuck am I talking about? My bad, I'm recording this at like 3 a.m. and I'm hella sleepy, so let me finish this. But like I was saying, Brody was such an intriguing character at first. I can say with confidence, I enjoy his character in the first couple episodes of Lobotomy Steel. And it just felt like he devolved as a character throughout the whole entire show. Around the last episode mark, I did not give a fuck about his character. Like, there's no way I should be caring about Mick becoming a Ranger more than his dad coming back. That is absolutely insane. But let me know what y'all think, and stay tuned for part 2. Can I be honest with you guys for a second? I think the 2017 Power Rangers movie is overrated. And look, no hate to the people who enjoy this movie. I enjoy this movie too. But sometimes us as fans, we can overhype the hell out of this movie. And this film has legitimate reasons to be glazed. This cast is amazing. I mean, phenomenal. We have Billy from Stranger Things playing Jason, and we have Zordon played by Walter White. And I do like the feel of this movie. It truly felt like a modern interpretation of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But unfortunately, this movie has a lot of flaws, and you can see why it didn't get the second movie. First, the pacing is absolutely horrible. They spend majority of the time in this movie inside of the command center because they needed to build a genuine bond as teammates. And yes, that concept is good, but the way it was executed was kind of lackluster because they didn't really do anything that whole movie. Only thing we got were montages, exposition dumps, and training scenes. And yes, I know that's how superhero origin movies work, and they wanted to make like a Power Ranger cinematic universe. I'm just gonna say it doesn't really fit Power Rangers. And I just hate how this movie was made with the intention of making more movies and not to stand on its own, because you essentially made a film to be the stepping stone for other films that never happened. And you could tell Saban and Lionsgate wanted this to be their cinematic universe. They wanted to compete with Marvel, DC. I believe if this movie were made to be a one and done self-contained story and didn't worry about setting up a whole universe, I think this movie would be a hit with more than just Power Rangers fans. And it would also make a lot of money and organically generate a sequel. But that is my biggest problem with this film. I know a lot of people have a lot more problems, like Zordon being an asshole, Goldar being a gold husk actually made out of gold, and the full team not morphing into the climax of the film, and many more. But if I sat here talking about all the flaws of this movie, this wouldn't be a YouTube short anymore, just a YouTube video. But that's enough doom and gloom. Let me give some positives. I do love the character dynamics in this show, especially between Jason and Billy. I just love their brotherly dynamic. It was just so fun and wholesome to watch. And I also wanted to see how they would explore the Jason and Kimberly dynamic in that second movie that ultimately got canceled. And I can say the few action scenes that we did get were pretty nice. I like the Rangers versus the Putties. That scene to this day gets me hyped up. I just wish the rest of the movie was as exciting. But let me know what y'all think of the film. What non-red Power Ranger deserves to be the Red Ranger? Like, there are some non-Red Rangers that would really be good Red Rangers. And when I go through this list, I don't want you guys to think that I think they'll be better than the Red Ranger we already have. In most cases, the Red Ranger we have right now is pretty much perfect. And I want to highlight, in most cases, I'm just saying, if they were the Red Ranger, I wouldn't bat an eye. And to start off with the easiest pick ever, I have Jin from Time Force. Especially in the earlier episodes when West was still going into that leader role, still going into that Red Ranger role, Jin was basically and is the leader of the Time Force Rangers. To be honest, Jin is the best rating character in this show. Her story is so intense and engaging that sometimes I forget that West is the main lead of the show. But no hate to West, he is still a top 5 Red Ranger. And you guys probably won't agree with this one. This is the one where I'm actually hating on a Red Ranger in question. I feel like Orion would be a better Red Ranger and a better main character than Troy. And I find it crazy that Megaforce somehow made the second season 6 Ranger feel more important than the main Rangers. And no, Orion is not the best character, but compared to his colleagues, story is amazing. He has a somewhat fleshed out backstory and he has a reason to fight, something that the other Megaforce Rangers just don't have. Orion, an alien from a conquered world, coming to Earth to avenge his planet. And Troy is just a dude who knew karate, who had a dream about an upcoming Ranger battle. So I definitely think Orion, with his story attached, will be a better Red Ranger than Troy. And moving on, I high-key believe when Jason left, Billy would have been an amazing Red Ranger. Now, does it make sense? No, it doesn't make a lick of sense, but Billy outright deserves that position more than Rocky. Even in the anniversary movie Once and Always, Billy was the quintessential leader of the new team of Power Rangers, and Billy basically fixed and made everything. So yeah, give it to Billy. Now look, I know you don't necessarily need to be the Red Ranger to lead the team, but let's be real, the mascot of every single Ranger show is the Red Ranger. Even if they're not the leader, the Red Ranger is still the mascot. And for more clarification, I would not replace West with Jin. I'm just saying, in a theoretical, Jin would be a nice Red Ranger, but everybody else on this list, I would replace them in a heartbeat. But let me know what y'all think. See, I don't really do this, but I would like to highlight a comment. Why do you hate Megaforce and Ninja Steel so much? Like, anytime you talk about the worst Power Ranger seasons, Megaforce is at number 1 and then Ninja Steel. I find it frustrating as a fan of Megaforce and Ninja Steel because I grew up with Megaforce and it was my first season. First of all, no hate to this dude, absolutely none at all. This is not a hate-filled video targeting this comment. I actually respect your comment and I thank you for commenting. I would just like to give you guys my perspective. Second, bro, I just have to say you got that order completely wrong. First is Power Rangers Ninja Steel, second is Mighty Morphin Season 3, and third is Megaforce. But yo, I just had to clarify that real quick. But you also said that it frustrates you the way I talk about these shows because you grew up with these shows. And I would like to tell you right now, that is not my intention. Always, well, most of the times in my videos, I mention no hate to the fans of these shows because I do realize people grew up with these shows and this is somebody's Power Rangers. But at the end of the day, bro, I'm not insulting the people who like this show. I'm insulting the show in general. But to answer your question on why do I hate on these shows so much, first, let me start off with Ninja Steel. When Ninja Steel came out and I seen all the ads on Nickelodeon, bro, I was hyped. An amazing Power Ranger show known as Dino Charge just ended. So I was excited to see what Power Rangers had next. And at first, Ninja Steel didn't start bad. The first 5 episodes were okay. But as the show went on, the writing just went downhill. And I have to disagree with you about the charming characters because to me the characters weren't really that unique. For example, look at Brody the Red Ranger. His story is almost 1-to-1 with Tyler from Dino Charge. I mean, there's a few subtle changes to make him unique enough, but it's not enough to make him stand out. Even in some ways, the character interactions in this show, bruh. Some of the dialogue in this show feels ripped straight from Paw Patrol. And it can't be the actors because one of the actresses, the White Ranger actually, she's in a show on Prime Video and she's a good actress, so it has to be the writers. And I just feel like they fumbled this cast so hard. You have the brother of your former Blue Ranger from the season prior, and you have other actors who are also good in their own right, and you gave them bullshit. And now Megaforce, bro. I used to like Megaforce growing up, bro, but now I realize this show tries too hard to be serious, to the point that it's sometimes funny. Like that one scene where Troy deadass Superman punches Robo Knight, bro, had me crying laughing, bro. Like, I believe Megaforce is a very fun bad show, but it also has a lot of the same problems as Ninja Steel. Like the characters, they are very bland, even blander than Ninja Steel, to the point that the characters seem like stereotypes instead of characters. But again, I want to thank the commenter. I like to see opposing opinions from my own to see another perspective, and shout out to you, man. Much love. And before I end this video, I would like to clear the air. I am not a Sentai purist. I never watched Goseiger, Gokaiger, or Ninja. So please don't accuse me of not liking these shows because they're not as good as the Sentai. As a fan of Power Rangers, I just want to say I think Kamen Rider is amazing. Like, I actually love Kamen Rider now. Like, over a year ago, I watched Kamen Rider 01 for the first time. That was my first ever Kamen Rider show. That shit was amazing. It turns out this show was affected by the pandemic, so it could have been better. Like, bro, the characters in this show, A1. The main writer, Aruto Hidden himself, 01, he's that guy. I love that dude, bro. Like, this man really went from being a failed comedian to a president of a big tech company in one day. And another thing, I just can't help to smile every time this dude is on screen or when he's talking in general. I don't know, bro. I just like the bubbly main characters who's just so optimistic and so like funny and charming, even though the world is going to shit around him. And you know what's crazy? 01, the main writer, is not even my favorite writer in this show. This might be a hot take, but it's Stowser. Like, I know this dude was so irritating and annoying, but he was just so cool though. The whole challenge arc when they were fighting over the company had me stressed out, bro. And I was like, no way they're actually going to take the company away from him, right? In my head, I'm like, nah, 01's not going to lose this company to Zaya. There's no way that can happen. There's no way he can lose this shit. Then I quickly realized this shit wasn't like Power Rangers. He lost that shit. Bro really had to create a whole nother company from scratch. But back to Stowser bitch ass, bro. He pissed me off so much. His henchman is a walking ad. Bro, the first time I heard presented by Zaya, the first thing I thought of was there is no way they have the promo for the company in the damn henchman. There is no way he just said that. There's no way I just heard that shit. But why is it kind of hard though? Like, Stowser is a cool character, but he's just so irritating and annoying. But to move on to the other antagonistic forces in this show, to Jin and Hirobi, especially Jin, Burning Falcon Jin, that has to be one of the cleanest suits I've ever seen. Like, I don't know, bro. And Jin's whole vibe when he came back with the Burning Falcon Kamen Rider driver, that shit just went crazy in general. And that boy Hirobi, Jin's dad, yeah, something wrong with that boy. Like, Sting Dystopia is a clean ass move. Like, when he hit that shit on my boy Fua, yeah, I thought he was dead, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he killed him right then and there. Like, from the looks of it, it looked like his foot went through his chest. But Kamen Rider is so peak, bro. I want to watch more shows. I tried Zed, but I only got the 3 episodes. I didn't really like it, I'm gonna be real, bro. But I seen how Achilles watch this shit, and yo, Achilles can make any show seem good. So I might rewatch Zets, and I kind of want to watch Geats too. Let me know if Geats is good. And Kamen Rider Mice is about to drop too, and that shit actually looks good from the trailer, so I might give that a try too. But what do you guys think about Kamen Rider? And you already know this video is
presented by Zaya.
What are some of my Power Rangers hot takes? Now first, to start off, Power Rangers Mighty Morphin Season 3 is up there with the worst series in the franchise, Megaforce and Lobotomy Steel. But Mighty Morphin Season 3 is just a different type of horrible. It's actually bad. But Mighty Morphin was a good show that had a major fall from grace. By Season 3, the show was so oversaturated and all over the place, I couldn't really keep up anymore. By Season 3, it's not even about dinosaurs, bro. Like, the whole dinosaur aesthetic is only purely for the suits, bro. And now they're just ninjas. And I can almost guarantee the reason they made them ninjas is just so they have a reason to switch the Zords. And later on in the season, the Pink and the White Ranger have to share a Zord. Because for the second time, they got a new set of Zords from another Sentai. Yes, this Power Ranger season is adapting 3 Sentais at once. All because they couldn't get rid of those dinosaurs, man. I can't. At this point, bro, let it go, please. And that might be different for you or anybody else, but this is just me and my opinion. You are free to disagree with that. And now my next take, I said this on the channel before, but Tommy is not the best Black Ranger. Now, Tommy Oliver, he is the greatest Ranger of all time. He is the Power Ranger, but he is not the greatest Black Ranger, bro. Simply for the fact, during Dino Thunder, he was barely able to be there, and I'm not going to rag on him for that because he had other obligations, but I'm also not going to pretend like that didn't stunt his character as the Black Ranger. And I'm not saying Tommy is a bad Black Ranger because he's far from it. He's an actual good Black Ranger. His debut episode as the Black Ranger is one of my favorite episodes in Power Rangers. I'm just saying, we've seen better Black Rangers than Tommy, like Zach or even Adam from Mighty Morphin. I even think Dylan from RPM is a better Black Ranger than Tommy. And like I said, Tommy, he's an amazing Ranger, but the Black Ranger is one of his weaker Rangers character-wise. But what are your hot takes? And let me know if you want me to do another one of these. Green Rangers don't get enough love, so let me tell you some of my favorite Green Power Rangers of all time. Let's start off with some honorable mentions. I have Tommy Oliver. The reason he's not on the main list, I felt like that would be too easy because, bro, it's Tommy Oliver. He's him. He's the greatest Green Ranger. He's literally the Power Ranger, so that's a no-brainer. But the one I do want to start off with is Cam Watanabe. I think he's underrated, bro. Cam is completely underrated. The Samurai's Journey episodes are some of the best in Ninja Storm. Not only did we get a fully fleshed out arc for Cam, we get more backstory on his family. We see how Lothar was before he became evil. Well, rather embracing his evil, I would say. We were also introduced to Cam's mom and her backstory and family history with the Samurai Amulet. And I must say, this is some of the best use of time travel. But look, I personally don't like time travel episodes or time travel in general as a trope, but they somehow made it work. And with some shows or some media, time travel feels like a get out of jail free card or just a reset button in general for the writers. So with this show, like, the time travel felt integral to the part and it had to happen for the plot to move on. And the next Green Ranger I would love to talk about is Ziggy from RPM. Now, is he a qualifier Ranger? Absolutely not. I mean, the man can barely lift his own weapon, but don't get it twisted, Ziggy is still that guy. Don't forget, this is the same guy who went against a whole mob boss just to help kids in need. Like, dude has a heart of gold. And you know what, bro? I'ma say it, right? I feel like Ziggy can solo the whole Ninja Steel team. Okay, I'm joking, bro. Let me stop playing. Last but not least, I have Bridge from SPD. Bridge is an underrated genius, one of the smartest Rangers on that team, surprisingly, because this dude presents himself as a dumbass. And another thing, I have to ask you guys one question. What Ranger other than Tommy Oliver has wore more than 2 colors? And it would be that boy Bridge. Even though we didn't technically see him morph as the Blue Ranger, and to me he wasn't that good as the Red Ranger in Operation Overdrive. But even with that being said, it's still crazy that he was 3 colors on one team. Nobody has ever done that before. But hey, that's my list. Let me know what y'all think. What are my personal favorite Rangers of all time? And to let you guys know, this is in no particular order, and can you guys let me know if I have taste? To start off, give me Jin, the Pink Ranger from Time Force. She is the greatest Pink Ranger of all time. And you might be thinking, over Kimberly? Hell yes! The only Pink Ranger to lead a team, by the way. Jin was by far one of the most interesting characters from Time Force. Hell, I might say she was the most interesting. She was the best written out of Time Force. And she went through so much. Her fiance died. She went back to the past and found his ancestor who looks just like him, just for the dude to be alive this whole time. And next on my list has to be the Thunder Rangers. Bro, both of them. I gotta get Blake and I have to get Hunter, bro. They're both goated. Their debut had me so hyped watching that for the first time, bro. That shit was so cool. Bro, I just love watching evil Rangers beat the brakes off of good Rangers, bro. That should be the most funniest thing ever, because it seems like the good Rangers just forget how to fight all of a sudden. The Thunder Rangers had them flopping like fish, and bro, they start stealing from them, bro. They dead ass stole their bikes, Zord attachments. Like, they can't have shit around the Thunder Rangers. Whole time, they're not even being controlled. They're not even evil, bro. They're doing this shit for pure vengeance and hatred. And honestly, bro, I can respect that. And my favorite Red Ranger, I said this in a video earlier this week, is Connor from Dino Thunder. He might not be the strongest Ranger on his team. He might not be the smartest. He might not even be the best. And I like the fact that he's kind of imperfect and he's like a laid back Red Ranger. And he's selfless too. He put his soccer/football career Ranger on hold just so he can save the world. And another Red Ranger I absolutely love is Jack from SPD, bro. I love the Robin Hood type characters, bro. And Jack is just such a goat because how do you become the Red Ranger your first day at SPD? Oh yeah, I know. He somehow evaded 2 trained SPD officers without even being a Ranger. And when he stepped down as the Red Ranger, I was so sad, but I understood. But I was still sad, bro. But my favorite Ranger of all time has to be that boy Trent Mercer. And it's simply because, bro, evil Trent Mercer, like I said before, I just love the evil Rangers, bro. His debut, right? He walked the Rangers down. He was putting straight belt on everybody, even Tommy Oliver himself. He was so good as an evil Ranger, they had to clone my boy. Then he fought said clone. But that's all for me. Let me know what y'all think. If I can be honest real quick, right? Power Rangers Dino Charge is the most underrated season of Power Rangers. Especially the first season, regular Dino Charge. It's just so fun and campy, and not campy to the point that it's like corny and overbearing. It's the type of campy that just makes you want to smile. And this cast, bro, the cast of Dino Charge is straight up amazing. You look at the main 6 Rangers, they all feel very unique. Hell, one of them is a caveman and the other is a fucking knight from medieval times. Now, if you ask me, what does a knight down the street from Camelot have to do with dinosaurs? I honestly couldn't tell you, but was it the coolest thing ever? Hell yeah, bro. And the fact that Coda is a caveman just makes so much sense. And it honestly had me thinking, before this we had 2 other dino themed seasons and they never had a caveman ranger. That is just such a no-brainer to have. Like, what an amazing concept. You can tell in this season they put so much effort into these characters, which is insane because this show is sandwiched in between Megaforce and Lobotomy Steel, 2 shows infamous for having bad characters. It's like after Megaforce, they locked in and said, you know what, bro, let's make a good show. Let's make a show that's enjoyable, a show that's watchable, a show with heart and soul in it. We don't want our show to get almost canceled for the 5th time. Everything was good. Power Rangers is watchable again. And then Dino Charge ended. And now the bullshit is back. Now we have to deal with them fake ass ninjas known as the Lobotomy Steel team. I'm pissing myself off talking about that shitty ass team. Let me talk about Tyler Navarro, the greatest modern day Red Ranger. This dude is just so likable, man. How could you hate Tyler, bruh? If you are a Tyler hater, I just feel like you're against joy and happiness. And Brendan Mejia killed it in this role, bro. He acted his ass off. He wasn't just a one-dimensional Ranger who was just, oh, I'm always happy and upbeat. He can also be very serious, like his battles against Fury, bro. Every time he seen Fury, he was on his ass. And the tension between those 2 characters were damn near the highlight of the whole first season. And a quick hot take, I think Fury is a better in-game villain than Sledge. But that's another video for another day. Like, man, bro, like, we got a lot of fucking cool Rangers in this show, man. Chase the Black Ranger is a fucking master marksman. Riley is the swordsman of the team. Like, we have a dinosaur swordsman. And Shelby just straight up created a Zord, bro. Like, bro, what type of Ranger creates a Zord? The main 6 Rangers and also Xenowing are absolutely amazing. And the other 3 also exist. Bro, be honest with me. None of you guys have Tyler's dad, Miss Morgan, or the Graphite Ranger in your top 5 Ranger conversations. But let me know what y'all think about Dino Charge. I just rewatched Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, and buddy, do I have a lot to say. And one of the bigger things, the show is not that bad, but the short runtime really held it back. One of my biggest takeaways is that 10 episodes is not enough to wrap up an almost 3-decade-old show. And yes, I understand that the 10 to 8 episode format is what TV shows run by nowadays, especially on Netflix. But for some shows, especially Power Rangers, it just doesn't work. And yes, I know they didn't want any fillers in the final season of Power Rangers, which is understandable because filler episodes, especially in Dino Fury, held that show back and sometimes were completely unwatchable. I just wish they would have made these episodes longer or something, bro, because they couldn't make me care about some of these character arcs, stories, or even characters. Like, for example, Fern. I really like Fern in original Dino Fury, right? I loved Fern's character. And when we got leaks for her being the Orange Ranger, I was like, yo, that makes sense. I actually liked this. And then she became the Orange Ranger and it was completely underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, it was so cool in the moment. We had our first official Orange Ranger and they basically did nothing with her, barely had any character development after that. They just said, you know what, fuck it, we have another Ranger now. And the sad thing is, the only interesting thing she had going was the whole overprotective thing with Izzy, bro, and that's so sad. They barely gave a fuck about this Ranger, bro. We had a new Ranger, an Orange Ranger, that they introduced in episode 6 of 10. Bro, are you serious? There's 4 episodes left and we're just now getting introduced to our new Orange Ranger? For real? And it sucks because Fern is genuinely a good character. And they did Amelia and Zato so dirty, bro. Let me start off with Zato. This show didn't know if they want to keep him around or just kill him off. First episode in the show, he gets sent off by Evil Ollie. Mind you, he just came back from the dead. And now that Zato is back, he is now some type of Ranger god. But you'll never guess this, guys. They killed him off again. This is the second time Zato has died in a span of 2 seasons. And the outcome, basically the same. Brought back Vitamorphin Masters, but this time he is now a Morphin Master, which was okay, I guess. But my biggest gripe is, if you're gonna do all this shit to bring him back to life, why kill him off again, bro? Just keep him dead. And look, with Amelia, bro, I like her as the Red Ranger. I think she did a pretty good job. I just wish we had her for a little bit longer, man. Like, I wanted to see more moments of her just straight up leading the team, because she has some good moments as Red Ranger, like all those times she led the team against Evil Ollie. I just wish they would have done more. But let me know what y'all think. Connor from Dino Thunder is my favorite Red Ranger, and you know what, bruh? It's hard. It's hard being a Connor fan, bruh. Like, you have to live with the fact that your favorite Red Ranger is not even the best Ranger on his squad. Like, what do you mean Tommy Oliver's back? Tommy Oliver, the greatest Ranger of all time, is his Black Ranger. And this might be a hot take, but I don't think Tommy Oliver's the greatest Black Ranger. Even with that being said, he's still Tommy Oliver, the first ever Green Ranger, the first ever Evil Ranger. He is the founding father of Evil Rangers. And no shade to Connor, but every time Tommy fought alongside the Rangers, he became the leader of that team. Hell, that was Tommy's team to begin with. Because why the hell is Tommy Zord the Zord that transports all of the other Zords? Like, Connor, please get up. But hey, bro, that's Tommy Oliver, and Tommy Oliver is Tommy Oliver. At least he doesn't have to deal with another Ranger outshining him. And that's what I would say if Trent Mercer didn't exist. Not only is he the second coming of Tommy's evil Green Ranger, he can also shoot out and manipulate light beams, have super speed, and he's just all around a better Ranger. And he looks cooler than you. How do you let him look cooler than you? So what's the check marks? He has a better story. He has a better power set. He has a better suit. Yo, Connor, bro, fight back. And during the whole White Ranger arc, he was basically the main character. Connor was kind of an afterthought. But guess what, y'all? Connor doesn't stay down for long. He rises up. Triassic Triumph did so much for Connor's character. I could cry. When he got Triassic mode, that shit was so clean, bro. It's one of the greatest suit designs in Power Rangers. And not only is he one of the strongest Rangers in that form, he has his own pocket dimension. They buffed my boy. Finally, they buffed my boy. And there's no way of escaping that dimension, bro. He's gonna turn you into a math equation. And he even has a battleizer form of Triassic mode. And yes, is it one of the most ugliest and hideous designs in Power Rangers history? Yes. But is it one of the strongest though? Also yes. But Connor's my GOAT. Let me know what y'all think. What are my personal favorite shows from each era of Power Rangers? Now, to start off in an era that started it all, we have the Zordon era, and I have to say, my favorite show from this era is not Mighty Morphin, simply because of season 3. I think season 3 is terrible, but my favorite season from this era has to be In Space. In Space saved the franchise. Also, this show single-handedly saved the reputation of all of the Turbo Rangers, except for Justin, but I don't really care about him, so let's move on. And my favorite season from the post-Zordon era, it's Time Force, bro. That is a no-brainer. Matter of fact, that should be a universal opinion. I like all of the shows in the post-Zordon era. It's definitely one of the stronger eras. And if I can be honest, Time Force and Lost Galaxy are doing a lot of heavy lifting in this era. Not saying the other shows like Lightspeed Rescue and Wild Force are bad. I'm just saying, compared to Time Force, they can't be compared. And the only one that comes close is Lost Galaxy. But the Disney era, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people are gonna disagree with this, but this is my personal opinion. opinion, I think Dino Thunder is the greatest season out of that era. And yes, is it because that's the first show I seen from this era? Probably. But I just like this show. I like the vibe of the show. I like how this is the first time we had teenagers of attitude that act like teenagers with fucking attitude. Was that a slight Mighty Morphin diss? I don't know, probably. Now, I'm not saying it's the best written show in that era because it's not, but this show just has a special feel to me that I just can't shake, and I just love this show. And y'all might be like, yo, you're glazing this show, and you would be correct. This is one of my favorite shows of all time, not Power Ranger shows, but one of my favorite shows in general. And for the Neo Saban era, I have Dino Charge. And yo, before the Samurai Meat Munchers attack me, hear me out. And look, bro, I like Samurai too, but you can't deny that Dino Charge is all around a better show, except for that ending. It was kind of ass. But in the Hasbro era, my favorite scene, it's Beast Morphers. I have to cut myself off just because I want to talk about Beast Morphers. But this show, it surprised the hell out of me, bro. I did not expect it to be good. Beast and Dino Charge are the closest we ever got to the Disney level quality in the newer eras. Having the plot of the Rangers all revolve around family and or loved ones was a genius move. We have something that ties all of these Rangers together. And this show was a true love letter to Power Rangers and Tokusatsu in general. They collabed with Dino Thunder, Dino Charge, Mighty Morphin. Hell, Space Sheriff Gavin showed up in an episode of Beast Morphers. Bro, Vengex, the RPM villain, yes, that Vengex was revealed to be the main villain of the show. Mind you, at this point, the show has been over for 10 years. And this show managed to pay off a scene that was teased to us a decade ago. But yeah, Beast Morphers is peak. Let me know if y'all agree or disagree with my take, and let me know y'all takes as well. What are my personal favorite shows from each era of Power Rangers? Now, to start off in an era that started it all, we have the Zordon era, and I have to say, my favorite show from this era is not Mighty Morphin, simply because of season 3. I think season 3 is terrible, but my favorite season from this era has to be In Space. In Space saved the franchise. Also, this show single-handedly saved the reputation of all of the Turbo Rangers, except for Justin, but I don't really care about him, so let's move on. And my favorite season from the post-Zordon era, it's Time Force, bro. That is a no-brainer. Matter of fact, that should be a universal opinion. I like all of the shows in the post-Zordon era. It's definitely one of the stronger eras. And if I can be honest, Time Force and Lost Galaxy are doing a lot of heavy lifting in this era. Not saying the other shows like Lightspeed Rescue and Wild Force are bad. I'm just saying compared to Time Force, they can't be compared. And the only one that comes close is Lost Galaxy. But the Disney era, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people are gonna disagree with this, but this is my personal opinion. I think Dino Thunder is the greatest season out of that era. And yes, is it because that's the first show I seen from this era? Probably. But I just like this show. I like the vibe of the show. I like how this is the first time we had teenagers of attitude that act like teenagers with fucking attitude. Was that a slight Mighty Morphin diss? I don't know, probably. Now, I'm not saying it's the best written show in that era because it's not, but this show just has a special feel to me that I just can't shake, and I just love this show. And y'all might be like, yo, you're glazing this show, and you would be correct. This is one of my favorite shows of all time, not Power Ranger shows, but one of my favorite shows in general. And for the Neo Saban era, I have Dino Charge. And yo, before the Samurai Meat Munchers attack me, hear me out. And look, bro, I like Samurai too, but you can't deny that Dino Charge is all around a better show, except for that ending. It was kind of ass. But in the Hasbro era, my favorite scene, it's Beast Morphers. I have to cut myself off just because I want to talk about Beast Morphers. But this show, it surprised the hell out of me, bro. I did not expect it to be good. Beast and Dino Charge are the closest we ever got to the Disney level quality in the newer eras. Having the plot of the Rangers all revolve around family and or loved ones was a genius move. We have something that ties all of these Rangers together. And this show was a true love letter to Power Rangers and Tokusatsu in general. They collabed with Dino Thunder, Dino Charge, Mighty Morphin. Hell, Space Sheriff Gavin showed up in an episode of Beast Morphers. Bro, Vengex, the RPM villain, yes, that Vengex was revealed to be the main villain of the show. Mind you, at this point, the show has been over for 10 years. And this show managed to pay off a scene that was teased to us a decade ago. But yeah, Beast Morphers is peak. Let me know if y'all agree or disagree with my take, and let me know y'all takes as well. Some Battleizers should have just stayed concepts. Like, they're literally so ugly. The Quantum Ranger Eric is one of the coolest Rangers of all time, but you look at this man, Battleizer, that shit is genuinely trash. He has on roller skates with 2 blades on his wrist. What the fuck are we doing? Jack, my brother Jack, what do they have you wearing? They got my boy wearing a thong. And yes, the second form of the Battleizer is okay. It's a little bit better. I kind of like it. And my problem doesn't necessarily come from the thong. My question is, why does he only have armor on his arms, his legs, and on his meat? So you're telling me somebody in production looked at that Battleizer and said, yo, this shit is tough. There is no way a human being with human thoughts thought that shit looked good. That was a robot who made that decision. AI wasn't even a thing back then, but I'm calling it. That was AI. I'm blaming AI. And the thing that they did to Triassic mode makes me want to cry or vomit. Triassic mode, one of the most beautiful transformations. It looks so good. It's gorgeous. And then they had to add the Battleizer on top of that shit, man. Power Rangers, we can't have none, can we? Like, we literally cannot have anything with y'all. Did we have to turn our dinosaur Red Ranger into the second coming of Luffy or Mr. Fantastic, bro? Did we really have to do that? And look, it's one of the strongest forms of all time, but that doesn't excuse it for the fact that it's ugly as hell. But let me know what y'all think. What are some of the best episodes from the worst seasons of Power Rangers? By the way, shout out this comment who suggested this video. And they also mentioned Dimensions in Danger from Ninja Steel, and I absolutely agree, bro. See, Ninja Steel is horrible. It's absolutely dog shit. But Dimensions in Danger is a generational collab episode. It had good pacing, good writing for the most part. It was still a Ninja Steel episode, so the writing wasn't that better, but it was still enjoyable. I still had a good time watching. We seen the debut of Tommy Oliver's Master Morpher, and it was also the unfortunate last time we seen Tommy Oliver on the screen in Power Rangers. So it definitely has a special place in my heart. And y'all probably not gonna agree with this one, but I think Megaforce, well, Super Megaforce episode 1 was pretty good, mainly because of the nostalgia bait. And I think the last episode of regular Megaforce was pretty good too. For the first and last time this show felt like it had stakes, and this was the absolute peak of this show. And you know what? That one episode where Casey from Jungle Fury randomly came back to train Emma and Jake was also a good episode. And the next is Operation Overdrive. And I don't really think this show is bad. I just think it's kind of generic for the Disney era because it was surrounded by peak. It was sandwiched between Jungle Fury and Mystic Force. And the best episode, you already know, it's that Once and Always, I think is what it's called. No, it's Once a Ranger, my bad. And Once a Ranger, a good episode, amazing collab episode, right? They brought back a lot of Rangers, a random selection of Rangers too. We seen the third SPD Red Ranger we seen on screen, the second MMPR Black, that bitch Xander from Mystic Force. Then we got Tori, the first ever female Blue Ranger. We have Kira, my personal favorite Yellow Ranger. So this team is already tough. You have a team full of likable Rangers in Xander versus a team that nobody really liked and had a generic ass show. And I feel like the old Rangers really overshadowed the new Rangers, completely overshadowed them actually. So nostalgia bait for the win, but let me know what y'all think. These are some of the best Power Ranger suits in my opinion. It would be illegal if I didn't start off with the Thunder Rangers. They are clean. And I always thought they looked like a more evolved version of the Wind Rangers. Like instead of wearing single solid color onesies with chainmail sleeves, the Thunder Rangers kept the chainmail sleeves, but they added black pants to divide the main color from the torso to the boots. And with the gold shoulder pads with the gold belts, bro, they look so much better than the Wind Rangers. And another one up there has to be the Quantum Ranger suit. And yes, is it just a black recolor of the Red Ranger suit with some slight changes in the logo? Yes, but is it not clean though? Eric just put that bitch on, bro. Oh my gosh, the Quantum Ranger looks so good, bro. No glaze. You know what? Fuck it. All glaze. He looks beautiful. Dude, I can't even explain why I think he looks better than West, bro, but just know he does. And look, I know Samurai is pretty hated, but you cannot lie, the Samurai suits are pretty good. I wouldn't put it in my top 5 just because of the Green Ranger's helmet. I don't like his helmet, bro. Like Mike's helmet is just completely ugly to me. I don't like it. It looks flat at the top and that just doesn't sit right with me, bro. And my all-time favorite suit has to be White Dino Thunder. I gotta be honest, this suit turns me on. This dude Trent had no business being that clean. Like bro's life was dead ass going to shit, but at least his fit was hard though. Bro really pulled up to traumatize his crush with the cleanest fit ever. Like, oh my gosh, the gold, the black, the white, every aspect of this suit just screams evil. Even when he goes Super Dino mode, he looks 10 times more menacing and evil. Bro, he wasn't even evil anymore when he had Super Dino mode. Bro, his suit was so menacing. Next to the other team members, he didn't even look like he belonged. He looked so out of place compared to the other Dino Rangers. And to be honest, that just makes him cooler. But let me know what y'all think and let me know y'all favorite Ranger suits. Without the Blue Rangers, Power Ranger teams would look stupid. And to be honest, I think the Blue Ranger is the second most important person on the team, second to the Red Ranger. Even if the Blue Ranger is like kind of mid that season, they're still going to be good. Like Lucas from Time Force, one of the most irrelevant Rangers in that squad. But he still has some funny focus episodes. A Ranger of him going on dates with Rancic's daughter. Now he has to be his best friend who is a mutant in a one-on-one race. Like, what were they doing with this Ranger? Even from some of the worst shows in Power Rangers, like Ninja Steel or Megaforce, Noah and Preston are still pretty good Rangers. I like Noah's whole sword fighting arc in Super Megaforce. I thought that shit was cool. And Preston and Sarah was the only reason I kept watching Ninja Steel and then dropped it. Okay, it was mostly Sarah, but come on, bro. And I guess Preston pretty cool too, I guess. And you know, bro, I like Peter Sadar, so he did pretty good at that role. And an example for when a Power Ranger team does not look good without its blue, let's go to Cosmic Fury. Now, I'm not saying with the Blue Ranger the team suits didn't look hideous. They are very much still ugly. I'm just saying, with Ollie back on the squad, bro, they were a little less harder to look at. And plus they had Billy Cranston standing in for Ollie, so he wasn't fully missed. And the smartest Ranger ever. I mean, I don't even need to introduce Billy, bro. You should know Billy. If you watch Power Rangers, if you know Power Rangers, you should know Billy. Same dude who made a flying car. Same dude who invented the Power Rangers communicator. My boy is a whole ass pioneer and nobody can take that from him. And the point of this video is just to say, yo, if you take out a Blue Ranger from a team, they won't look right. And I'm pretty sure that has something to do with like the science of colors. I'm not really that smart, so I'm not going to get into all that. But if you know why, just let me know in the comments, bro. And just let me know what y'all think about Blue Rangers in general. Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, the final season of Power Rangers. I like it. I think it's a good show, but it does have some problems. So let me tell you some of my likes and dislikes from this season. They overcomplicated the Ranger color situation for no reason. I said it once, I'm going to say it again. Zayto should have stayed dead. I get you want the cliffhanger, but why bring someone back just to send them away in the first episode? And yes, I know that was the way so they can have a hold in the team so Amelia can step up and become the Red Ranger. But buddy, you already had the hold in the team. Zayto was dead, and they did this weird thing when they were like promoting Zayto but also demoted him in rank and team. Like, he was more important than the team, but he was also a step below Amelia. Like, what are we doing? Does that what? Hey, I'm editing this video now and I forgot to mention that they killed him off again after they brought him back. I'm getting a feeling that they didn't want Zayto in this show to begin with. They just needed him to move the plot along. Okay, but now back to the short. And yeah, I get if you kept Zayto alive, you couldn't do some plot elements. You can't do some things without Zayto being around. But if they wanted Zayto to be around and Amelia to take the Red Ranger's position, I feel like Zayto should have retired, became a mentor, then go on his journey to become a Morphin Master. Because in my head, I think it makes a lot more sense if Zayto just retires. He passed the torch on to Amelia, and now Amelia is the new leader. I don't know, man. It just makes more sense to me for Zayto to evolve into the mentor of the team. And like, he would be a good mentor too. He's been around for 65 million years. He has the most experience on the team other than Ion, I guess. But I don't know. Let me know if I'm tripping. But now we're at the part where Amelia becomes the Red Ranger, and I think she deserves it. She popped off last season, and the ending of the season mostly revolved around her, so she was the new main character. So that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense, what color is Zayto? Even though I think Zayto's suit is the coolest out of the bunch, I think it looks the best out of the main Rangers. What the fuck is that color? Okay, I'm done with the Zayto shit. You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. And something nice about this show, I think it did a pretty okay job of wrapping up the story of Power Rangers. I mean, they could have dealt with Lord Zed, now it's kind of but this show deadass had some fan service. We had the Dark Ranger Heckle finally showing up like 3 or 4 seasons after his show ended. Mick from Ninja Steel is back. He's one of the only things I like about that show, and that's pretty cool. And Billy was so good in this show, man. Like, he was just carrying, bruh. Like, he was just so amazing. Old man Billy deserves to be the Red Ranger more than Rocky does, bro. You can quote me on that, I don't care. And I think Fern becoming the Orange Ranger was pretty cool. Even though it was kind of short-lived and underwhelming, it still satisfied me. And I know I talk about how bad their suits can be, but their weapons, I think they're 10 times worse. Just had to throw that in there real quick before I end the video, but let me know what y'all think. Is Dino Charge better than Samurai? 2 days ago, me and my friend was playing Fortnite, and while we were playing Fortnite, he knows I do these videos. He said, yo, bro, I think Dino Charge is better than Samurai. Like, how have I never thought of that? It absolutely is better than Samurai. But that's only season 1. Season 1 Dino Charge has some of the best written material in the Neil Saban era. All of the Rangers are unique. They have distinctive personalities. Tyler the Red Ranger had a personality. We were eating good that season. We had one of the greatest Ranger introductions being Ivan, even though he came out of Fury's stomach. That was pretty strange, but it was still cool nonetheless. And them pump faking that Ivan might be Tyler's dad, but it wasn't. It was just some random dude, and we see Tyler just holding Ivan like a baby. That shit was funny as hell. Speaking of the dad arc, bro, Tyler's missing dad shit was so cool, bro. They had to copy it the next season, but they made it 10 times worse. Now, season 2, Dino Supercharged, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I feel like Samurai actually progressed in Super Samurai. Like, the story got better. The writing was still kind of the same, but it was more entertaining, and the stakes were higher. That first episode of Super Samurai was just so impactful when we had all the Rangers fighting Unmorph because they couldn't morph. They were fighting hundreds of Moogers. They were jumping over Sanzu River puddles. Like, that shit was insane. And it all cultivated in the creation of the Black Box, which in my opinion is one of the cleanest transformations in Power Rangers. Now we go over back to Dino Charge. Dino Supercharge, it wasn't really bad. It wasn't Ninja Steel bad. It was kind of like high tier mid. The show was still okay, but it just wasn't what it once was. And it just didn't feel the same. It was probably the lack of follow-up between Tyler and his dad's story. Even though Tyler found his dad, we barely got interactions between them. Most of this 10 Ranger team was straight up kind of like background characters. It was some episodes I straight up forgot we had a Graphite Ranger. Hell, sometimes I forgot Miss Morgan was a damn Purple Ranger. But to give them the benefit of the doubt, I bet it was very difficult to write 10 Rangers. Better yet, make people care about these 10 Rangers. So in that regard, I kind of feel for them because they were kind of in a difficult position. But with all that being said, Dino Charge overall is the better show. Even though the second season was the weakest, it still had better writing than most of Samurai. There's a reason Dino Charge showed up in every single show after it ended, you know, except Dino Fury. But let me know what y'all think. I was going to make a video about evil Rangers, but I realized majority of these Rangers are from the Disney era, and I started thinking more about it. Every single season in the Disney era had evil Rangers except for one, and that's RPM. To start this off, we have the Thunder Brothers, the Thunder Rangers from Ninja Storm. And to be honest, these dudes weren't really evil. They just had a lot of misguided anger, and they just so happened to take out their anger on a whole squad full of ninjas. Yeah, that shit won't hold up in court, bud. But after them in Dino Thunder, we have Trent Mercer, the absolute GOAT, my favorite evil ranger of all time besides Tommy. And Trent was putting belt on everybody. He was putting belt on every single ranger on that team, even Tommy. Yes, Tommy Oliver. He beat Tommy Oliver. And he did this with a feather that draws out arrows that are made out of light that also are homing missiles. What the fuck is his skill set? And then in SPD, we have the shitty ass A Squad. I'm not even gonna glaze them. They just were kind of bad. They suck, man. A Squad showed up in the third to last episode, get their ass beat, and nobody gave a fuck. And I feel like the Power Rangers fandom gassed up the A Squad a little bit too much. These off-brand Psycho Rangers ain't on shit. They were never on shit, so please stop glazing them. But in Mystic Force, we have that demon known as Korak, the father of Nick Russell. This dude is just demonic. He's just pure demonic. He beat his wife in a one-on-one fight first episode, took her staff and started flexing on her in the underworld, and he had smoke with the Red Ranger almost on sight. Like, anytime he had the chance to fight Nick, he's gonna take that shit. I vividly remember this one episode. He thought he was gonna face Nick the Red Ranger, but he ended up going against the Yellow Ranger Chip. It did not matter what Ranger he got. He just wanted to fade with any of them. And in Operation Overdrive, we have Will the Black Ranger, and even though he wasn't really evil, he was beating his team ass like he was. Like, bro, dead ass soloed his whole team for a bit. But I don't really have too much to say about Will, so let's go over to Jungle Fury. It is a miracle that the Jungle Fury Rangers survived the Spirit Rangers, bruh. And this has to be the most egregious case of evil Rangers. They weren't just fighting evil Rangers, they were fighting their senseis, people who just previously taught them. Hell, one of them, Master Finn, is the father of their main sensei RJ. Realistically, the odds of them surviving that is 0 to 1. So thank God they got the one, because if they didn't, Jungle Fury would have been a lot shorter. I still can't believe I'm just now realizing that half of the evil Rangers came from Disney. But like always, let me know what y'all think. I'm not gonna lie, bruh. Doggy Kruger has to be the most lethal furry of all time. For context, I made a video glazing Mentor Rangers and I mentioned everybody except for Doggy Kruger somehow. I forgot one of the best, one of the greatest. Fuck Mentor Rangers, but a top 3 Ranger. And he had a revenge story. And if you watch Power Rangers, you know if a Ranger has a revenge story, just know they're going to be the best written character in that season. And his story with his wife was just so touching. It was just such a beautiful story. And what I mean, he had to have the greatest give back in Power Rangers history or one of the best. Yo, this dude was going insane. Tell me why in this pursuit of vengeance, he beat 100 Crybots. They had to counter on the screen so you can see. Then after all of that, he then beat General Grenard one-on-one with no hint of fatigue. He wasn't tired. He just wanted smoke. He wanted action. And in my opinion, I think Grum had it way worse than Bernard. He pulled up to his home, beat his ass, presumably killed him. The reason I say presumably, because he lived. Grum lived. That was his biggest mistake. Now that I remember, didn't he literally want to die? He straight up told Doggy, bro, you're not gonna take me in. So yeah, maybe he did have the right idea, bro. He would have been better off dead because Doggy ran the ones with him outside unmorphed and beat his ass. It was so embarrassing. He beat his ass in front of everybody. All of the Rangers are just sitting there spectating, watching Doggy just whoop the shit out of this bum. But yeah, Doggy's like that. But let me know what y'all think. Avengers Doomsday. Look, bruh, I'm kind of scared, but at the same time, I am very hyped for this movie. On one hand, this could be the greatest comic book movie project we got in the last 10 years. On the other hand, this could be the biggest disappointment Marvel has ever put out. I'm not saying it's going to flop because this movie is definitely making $1 billion opening weekend. My biggest fear is that this movie is just going to be straight nostalgia bait and nothing else, bruh. Like, they're bringing everybody back from the old X-Men movies, probably Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. They're bringing back RDJ and Chris Evans. This cast is wonderful. This cast alone is gonna make this movie a lot of money. I just hope the writing is good, bro. Please make the writing good. Like, I just pray that the writers just don't see this cast and think this is just an easy payday. Like, they can just write the most basic generic bullshit and this movie can be the greatest thing of all time. But I still have faith. I have more faith in this film than I did Kang Dynasty, because you have to realize we still have the writers from Endgame, the first Captain America trilogy, films that fundamentally built the MCU. So yes, I am scared, but I am also excited. But this movie can be good or bad. I'm still gonna be in the theater first day with my popcorn bucket ready to watch this film. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Yo, why did Ollie from Cosmic / Dino Fury high-key carry? And this is not a diss towards any of the other Rangers on that squad, but Ollie is simply just the best. And I knew from watching the first episode of Dino that Ollie was going to be that Ranger. He's going to be that Ranger that I just stick with for the whole show, and I just love him. And it's because he's unironically funny. This dude is so pessimistic and sarcastic. It added so much to his character. He didn't feel bland like the other Rangers we had in the past few seasons. He was actually kind of likable and witty, and when he became an evil Ranger for the first time, remember that, for the first time, it was such a no-brainer. He was the most natural evil Ranger that we had in this whole era. If you see his personality, you see how he was moving this whole season, he was the perfect person to be chosen by Zed. And when I mean that episode was a fucking banger, bruh, that was the first time in a long time when a Power Rangers episode had me completely hooked. From the new era, of course. I wanted to see more of evil Ollie. Little did I know Hasbro was about to bless me for the first time ever. And now we're in Cosmic Fury, and Zed has his monster that can unlock the evil bits inside of a person. The ugly bastard uses his powers on the Rangers, and then the Rangers, they were laughing that shit off because they say, yo, this shit ain't working. This shit can't work on us. We're the Power Rangers. And then Zed said, that wasn't aiming for y'all. That was aiming at him. Now we see Ollie, the menace of the Hasbro era, back to the camera. He turns around slowly, and then the Rangers realize they got him. Evil Ollie wasted no time. He sent Zato in that clean ass suit into space. That's when they got him back. He just came back from the dead, by the way. Bro, this dude was just on timing for the rest of the show, bruh. He was throwing swords at his girlfriend's head, and for some reason he had a black leather jacket on standby. Like, why the fuck would you need a black leather jacket on standby? Like, okay, Billy Badass. And I have to say it, bro, Ollie's run as Zed's main general carried the whole show. And to be honest, bruh, his suit just looked way better than those ugly ass Cosmic Fury suits. Like, not only was bro evil, he was also mogging them while he was evil. But let me know what y'all think about Evil Ollie. The more I make these Power Rangers YouTube shorts, I start to realize that Power Rangers has to be the worst universe you can live in fiction. If you boil it down, the Earth and other surrounding areas have been targeted by so many different eldritch beings, eldritch demon lords that just pop up out of nowhere every single year. And if you're that weird guy who says, nah bro, that's not even that serious, I can just move where? You can go from Blue Harbor Bay dealing with evil demonic space ninjas, then move to Reefside. Wait a year, now you're dealing with demonic evil robots that are made with dinosaur DNA. So basically you're going from hell to super hell. Gotcha. And I pray for the poor dumb souls who still live in Angel Grove, because why are you living in an area that's been attacked for the past 30 years? The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are still active. Noted, I said, why would you move? You're just gonna move into a worse area. You don't understand. Angel Grove is patient zero. This is the end all be all of terrible places to live. At this point, bro, you have to move galaxies. Oh wait, you fucking can. There's still evil shit happening in other galaxies, in space. There's other shit happening in space. And this main universe is not even the only universe getting attacked. We have other universes like RPM. If the RPM Rangers come to the main universe, they cannot take their helmets off because the main universe's air is so clean, it might be toxic to them. They live in an apocalyptic world filled with robots, and somehow, even though they win, the world still needs to rebuild. And Dino Charge, they're just living it up over there, because why else would they accidentally make a black hole and destroy the whole Earth? They went back in time to fix it, of course, but then they brought back the dinosaurs. Like, no! They somehow put these apex predators in zoos. And if I'm being honest, I would rather live in these universes than a main Power Rangers universe. Yes, I would rather take air pollution and dinosaurs potentially eating my face off than to live in the main universe. Bro, not even the future is safe, or the present or the past, depending on, because SVD takes place in 2025, like 3 to 4 years after Cosmic Fury, and they're still dealing with bullshit. Hell, we can go deeper into the future, 1,000 years in the future, and we still need Power Rangers, because apparently now we have villains that can traverse time, and you're not even safe from the Power Rangers. There's a chance an evil ranger shows up and just ruins their entire life, but it's all good because he was being controlled, and a few months later they're going to welcome him with open arms, even though he just wrecked your life and now you're paralyzed. But please let me know what y'all think. What is the better Power Rangers season? Power Rangers Samurai or Power Rangers Ninja Storm? But hold on, this time I'm not going to be answering that question. You guys are. See, a couple days ago, I put out a poll on my channel asking you guys which show is better. And the results, it was a fucking landslide. Ninja Storm absolutely put belt to ass on Samurai. I'm going to put a couple of you guys' comments on the screen. I want to respond to them to see if I agree or disagree. In the first comment, and they say Ninja Storm because the plot doesn't revolve around a single ranger. And like, look, I agree that Ninja Storm is better, but I don't know if I agree that it's better because it doesn't follow a single ranger. Yes, Samurai could focus more on Jaden than the other rangers, and he has more of the spotlight than the other rangers. But at the end of the day, it revolves around his family, and he is the Red Ranger. And this comment says Ninja Storm's writing didn't sound robotic, and I couldn't agree more. Actually, this is my problem with the whole Neil Saban and Hasbro eras as a whole. Like, if you compare a show in the Disney era like Ninja Storm and a show from the Neil Saban era like Samurai, the dialogue feels completely different. Like, sometimes the dialogue and the script in the show can make the Rangers seem like they're talking in monotone. And the next comment has nothing to do with the context of this video, but I'm still reading. Time Force is the undisputed king. I agree. I would 100% agree. Time Force runs laps around Ninja Storm and especially Samurai. And guys, when I tell you I was trying to find some positive Samurai comments to put in this video so I could have at least some contrast, but I only found like at least 3 out of 90. And one was a reply to another comment, so I'm not even going to use that one. But here's one. Shout out to you, by the way. I think it is nostalgia talking, but I grew up with Samurai and I like the story better. See, man, I see where you're coming from. I'm the same way. For the longest time, I thought Samurai was the holy grail. I thought Samurai was end all be all until I turned on Nicktoons one day and I saw Dino Thunder, and my whole life changed for the better. See, like that last comment said, Power Rangers Samurai was the starting point for most of the new Power Rangers fandom, so I don't blame you for liking Samurai more than Ninja Storm, because that's what you know. Samurai is your childhood, and I can't get mad at that. But with all that being said, time to move on to the last and final comment. Samurai, no ego from Jaden. Shane always had to be the biggest man on campus. I don't even know how how to respond to this, so I'm just gonna put you on game. I don't necessarily think a ranger being annoying or at least flawed is a bad character trait. For example, Nick from Mystic Force, I think he is very annoying, but he is still a 100% good ranger. Even Mike from the show you're defending, Samurai, is very flawed, and I think that makes him interesting. That doesn't mean he's well written. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I would much rather watch a show with an annoying character than a boring character. Not saying Jaden is boring, but still, I feel like having a character that's not 100% perfect, especially in a superhero media like Power Rangers, just adds an extra layer to the show. But thanks for your opinions, thanks for your takes, everybody who commented, even if you didn't make it into the video, thank you. It really means a lot. I'm going to try to at least do 2 videos like this a week, so look out for the next poll if you want to participate. If we're talking Power Rangers and I ask you your top 5 favorite seasons, and if you don't mention Jungle Fury, I will lose all respect for you as a person, as a human being. And if you haven't watched it, brother or sister, get on that shit now. This is the perfect time to watch it. That show is absolutely peak. Look, man, this show, it
arouses me. I am physically attracted to this show.
I have so much of an emotional attachment to this show. When a Red Ranger finally morphed, I cried. Every single one of Casey's milestones made me emotional in this show. When he got his master mark, I damn near gave them a standing ovation. Even with all that glaze of Casey, would you believe me if I told you that Theo was my favorite ranger out of the whole bunch? I don't know, man. I just like the way that he's just so serious, and he's so serious to the point that it's very funny. And Lily, oh Lily, bruh, Lily, I just feel like she'll just knock your ass out, man. I am a firm believer that Lily has the best hands on this squad other than RJ. And when I say this girl throws a punch, I mean this girl throws a fucking punch. Like, can somebody please explain to me why does this girl look like she's punching with the strength of a damn atom bomb? Now Dominic, he is the weakest ranger on this team character wise, and hey, that's not even a diss. This team is filled with D1 characters, and he's still pretty cool in his own right. His morpher, one of the most impractical things about this show, but every fight he was in, I was at my TV screen glued because I knew that shit was about to be a banger. The Rhino morpher absolutely itches my brain. How can something that ugly be that goated? And honestly, it only looks ugly when he's unmorphed. When he's morphed, it looks fine. And last but not least, we have RJ, Power Rangers' very first pothead. This is a very cold take, but RJ is the greatest Purple Ranger of all time. Like, bro, 2 of them came from the same team. One of the 2 is an old man who instantly gave his shit up. The rest of the Purple Rangers can't even be classified as Rangers. They are both evil Purple Knights who torment their kids. So yeah, pretty steep competition, RJ, but he's still goated. But back to RJ, he is a top 5 mentor figure. Even though some of his speeches can sound like straight bullshit, you could still understand his message. And with all of these forces, all these Rangers combined in this one show, just made one of the most beautiful pieces of Power Ranger media ever. But let me know what y'all think. Have y'all ever just stopped to realize that Void Knight is a watered down Korag? Like, they almost have the same story down to the T. They share the same structure, role, and basically identity. They're both evil night demons who are somehow the father of a ranger on the team. Their characters fundamentally revolve around their families. But the only difference is Korag has way more sauce than Void Knight. And look, bro, I love Void Knight. He's one of the better new gen ranger villains. But come on, man, he ain't touching Korag the Night Wolf. Korag is the same villain that still had honor even as a villain. He was gonna run them once, he was gonna make sure that shit was fair. He didn't want no excuses on the other end. He just wanted straight action. Korag is just such a good character in general. Every time he came on screen, you just knew something insane was about to happen. Korag is so goated. He made Nick likable. Straight up, when Nick became Korag that one episode, it somehow made him less irritating. Even Korag / Limbo's transition into the Wolf Warrior, you still cared about this character. He was still an enticing character that was still cool. Void Knight, on the other hand, when he gave up his powers to Zato, his character became lame as hell. And then they tried to salvage it by making him Void King. I'm sorry, I just think Void King as a character is just so pointless and he's just so lame. I don't know, man, this might just be me, but I wasn't really feeling Void King. He wasn't that interesting and his design was ugly. At least give him some armor. Let him redeem himself as a part of the team. Now, I know at that point he would just be a copy paste of Korag / the Wolf Warrior, but would that really be a problem? They already damn near copied the whole character. You might as well go all out. But like always, let me know what y'all think. What are my least favorite Power Rangers seasons from each era? But before we get into this, I would just like to clarify, just because a season is my least favorite in that era doesn't mean that season is bad necessarily. It just means out of every single season in that era, that is my least favorite. Let's start off in the Zordon era, the era that started it all. And I already know you guys are thinking, he's going to pick Power Rangers Turbo. To be honest, no. It is Mighty Morphin Season 3, and let me explain. Turbo was just an awkward show in general. It started awkward and it ended awkward. I will go on record and say that the last episode of Turbo was the best episode in that show. But with Mighty Morphin Season 3, oh my gosh, Mighty Morphin started off strong. I like OG Mighty Morphin. As somebody who was born in 2006, I fuck with that show heavy. I fuck with Season 1 and Season 2 Mighty Morphin. Season 3, bro, come on, bro, you dragging this shit. Why are we still with this shit, man? End it. They weren't even dinosaurs anymore. Even though they were using the dinosaur costumes, the identity of the show was completely erased by the third season. And I feel like if they would have used the Sentai footage from the show that Tommy Wright Ranger suit is from, the show would probably be watchable. I spent too much time on that era, so let me just talk about the next era, the post-Zordon era. And I honestly think this is the only era with no bad seasons. I equally enjoyed every show out of this era, but if I had to pick a show I didn't really connect with like that, bro, it had to be the last show in this era, Wild Force. I don't know, man. I know we had Forever Red in this show, but if I'm being real, this show has the weakest writing in this era. And that's not even a dig or a diss at this show. This show is going against Time Force, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue. But Wild Force is a good show on its own. Don't get me wrong, but compared to those three, it's the weakest. And in the Disney era, this shouldn't even be a surprise. It's Operation Overdrive. And I'm not even in that section that think this show is necessarily bad because we've seen worse. This show is mid and it's surrounded by powerhouses. Dude, this show is sandwiched in between Jungle Fury and Mystic Force. Is that even fair? And my least favorite show in the Neo Saban era has to be Lobotomy Steel. Oh, I meant Ninja Steel. Man, I don't give a fuck Lobotomy Steel. I hate that show. This show legit has the worst writing in Power Rangers. They couldn't even be original with the writing of the Red Ranger. They copied and pasted the fucking storyline from Dino Charge, an actual good show, but dumbed it down and gave a lobotomy in Ninja Steel. Like, how do you fuck up a story you just did? I don't even want to talk about that show right now. I'm already irritated. But to move on, my least favorite show in the Hasbro era has to be Dino Fury Season 1. Season 2 and Cosmic are good, but Beast Morphers is just better. But at the end of the day, that is my opinion, and I want to know y'all least favorite season from each era. There's a lot of things to criticize about Power Rangers Megaforce, but the Morphers? I don't know, man. That's kind of a stretch. Like, I feel like the Gosei Morphers are some of the best Morphers we've ever seen. Like, bro, what can I say? It's a unique Morpher and it's 10 times better than the average Wrist Morpher. Like, I'm going to say it right now, bro. Wrist Morphers are the most boring thing in Power Rangers. I know, hold up. I know y'all getting mad. But like, bro, think about it for a second. And not to say Wrist Morphers are bad, but we had them so much, they just start to get kind of boring. Dino Thunder, my favorite season of all time. This is literally my holy grail. Their Morphers don't really do it for me, bruh. I'm sorry, I don't like the dinosaur head Morphers. It's boring. All you have to do is press a button and say Dino Thunder, power up. I think Tommy has the best Morpher, even though it's a dinosaur repaint of the Turbo Morpher. I don't think it's that bad. And I think the best Wrist Morphers have another function other than, yo, just press a button on this watch. For example, Dino Fury, I would like to clarify, I mean Dino Fury has one of the most unique Wrist Morphers being the key. Like, the whole thing with Dino Fury keys is one of the best gimmicks in the current era. But then they had to get downgraded in Cosmic Fury with those ugly ass orbs. Yes, I know the Cosmic Fury Morphers are unique, but that don't change the fact that they fucking suck, bruh. If I was a Power Ranger, I'd be so pissed if I had to morph a jumbo size Orby. Billy should have kept those orbs in the vault, bro. We don't need them. We're good, bro. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, back to the Gosei Morphers. They're just so unique, beautiful, and elegant. Even though it's kind of weird, Gosei has his face as a morpher and they have to pull down on his jaw to insert a card, a Yu-Gi-Oh card at that, inside his mouth, push up his mouth. Wait, hold on, bro. Wait, what the fuck? I'm having second thoughts, man. I don't know. But let me know what y'all think, I guess. I make a lot of Power Rangers YouTube shorts to the point that it's almost a problem. And I have a lot of takes, and I can be very critical about this franchise to the point that it's low-key hated. And I can be very critical specifically to Ninja Steel and Megaforce. And I want to let you guys know, y'all, I'm not all doom and gloom, hate farming. I actually have something good to say about these shows. So let me tell you, both of these shows had an amazing cast. These actors are charming, charismatic. If you see the Troy actor and you see any of his interviews, the dude is a pretty good person. So it's a shame that they wrote him to be one of the most dullest, one-dimensional Red Rangers ever. And this is my problem with this era. They take a lot of talented actors and give them terrible material. Actually, such a shame. Ninja Steel and Megaforce could have been so much better if they would have just, let the actors be themselves. And another positive, I think Super Megaforce is a huge upgrade. Not that much of an upgrade, but it's still a major upgrade from regular base Megaforce. Y'all might be saying in the comments right now, I can see y'all type, you only like Super Megaforce and not Megaforce because they can transform into other teams. And I want to tell you, you're absolutely correct. I like hype moments in Aura. You gotta fight me about that, bro. I love it. And them transforming into past Rangers distracted me from the fact that the show was ass. And back then, I didn't really dislike Super Megaforce, and I kinda don't really now. I'm kinda like over exaggerating it a little bit. I have a lot of nostalgia for Megaforce, bro. Like the 2012 McDonald's toys. If you were a kid back then, bro, those McDonald's toys when you can combine them into the Megazord. I remember trading Zords on a bus with my homies, bro. That shit was undefeated. Ninja Steel is a little bit of the opposite. I have no love for this show. I have no nostalgia for this show. Seen the show for the first time, I was like, nah, 4th grade. Didn't really like it. And that's crazy. I used to like everything when I was in 4th grade. Hell, Batman vs Superman was my favorite movie at that point, bro. So that shit had to be ass for me not to like it. But I can say, I love the cast of Ninja Steel. Every interview I see of this cast, every single interview, they're just so amazing and bubbly, bro. I'm so glad they gave Yoshi Sudarso's brother, I think his name is Peter, a chance to play the Blue Ranger. That was so cool, bro. I love that shit. And I like the original Morphers, the Power Rangers exclusive Star Morphers. They were kind of cool. Never watched the Sentai, but I'm pretty sure their Morphers were their swords. And for a show that takes place in high school, that would not be a great idea. Hey, but that's all I got. Let me know what y'all think. Power Rangers Megaforce is better than Ninja Steel, and I'm going to tell you why. For context, a few days ago, I made a short talk about my least favorite Power Ranger seasons from each era, and I mentioned Ninja Steel in the Neo Saban era, and people kept saying, yo, you're forgetting Megaforce. Where's Megaforce? And I have to tell you guys, no, I didn't. I didn't forget a thing. And to be honest, bro, both of these shows are bad. They're both terrible, but one is worse than the other. And I rewatched Megaforce like 2 weeks ago, and it's bad, but it's a type of fun bad, if that makes sense. The characters, the dialogue, and the writing, it's just so stale, so plain, and the choices they make in this show, like ever since Robo Knight's been introduced, he's been at the center of every single problem they ever had. It got to the point it felt like he was their get out of jail free card because he had the solution to every problem, and he basically carried this whole team. Bro, that scene where Troy punches Robo Knight in his chest genuinely had me laughing, bro. You can tell they wanted it to be serious, but it just did not hit, bro. Like, Megaforce wants to be taken so seriously, but you just can't, bro. You just can't take this show serious, bro. It's just a funny watch. And Super Megaforce episode 1, bro, that shit was kind of good. I like that episode, bro. And it was because they found that serious tone they wanted to have this whole season for 2 episodes. And that was the ending of Megaforce and the beginning of Super Megaforce, bro. Like, that was the only time you could actually take this show serious. And I honestly get the hate, bro, because this show could have been so great. Dude, we had a team that can transform into literally any Ranger at any time. We deadass gave the Power Rangers the damn Omnitrix, and they played in our face and made some bullshit. So I get the hate. But what y'all don't get is my hate for Ninja Steel. I despise that show. I was so excited for Ninja Steel when that shit was announced, bro. I seen the trailers on Nickelodeon, bro. I was hyped, bro. New Power Rangers after Dino Charge. I was hyped up. Dino Charge was amazing. That was peak Power Rangers. I'm thinking we going back to back with this shit. We indeed did not go back to back with this shit. The first 5 episodes weren't that bad. Even though they copied and pasted half of the story arcs from Dino Charge, it was still pretty good. Then the quality kept dipping and dipping and dipping. And I don't even know why they made Super Ninja Steel. What the fuck was super about it? Please tell me, what was super about Super Ninja Steel? It was 10 times worse than regular Ninja Steel. And I can't even believe we got a completely generational episode out of this show. We got the dimension Dimensions in Danger crossover. Now, did Tommy Oliver carry that whole crossover? Yes, but they also had my goat Trent Mercer in that bitch too, so yeah, I'm glazing it. And another thing, I personally did not like this show growing up. This was the first show I ever dropped. I dead ass stopped watching Power Rangers after that. It took me until 2023 to pick up another Power Ranger show. And when I eventually watched this show in full, like in 2024, it gave me more Paw Patrol vibes than Power Rangers. But that is my opinion. Let me know what y'all think. What is the better Power Rangers season? Power Rangers Samurai or Power Rangers Ninja Storm? But hold on, this time I'm not going to be answering that question. You guys are. See, a couple days ago, I put out a poll on my channel asking you guys, which show is better? And the results, it was a fucking landslide. Ninja Storm absolutely put belt to ass on Samurai. I'm going to put a couple of you guys' comments on the screen. I want to respond to them to see if I agree or disagree. In the first comment, and they say, Ninja Storm because the plot doesn't revolve around a single Ranger. And like, look, I agree that Ninja Storm is better, but I don't know if I agree that it's better because it doesn't follow a single Ranger. Yes, Samurai could focus more on Jaden than the other Rangers, and he has more of the spotlight than the other Rangers. But at the end of the day, it revolves around his family, and he is the Red Ranger. But I absolutely see where you're coming from. And I'm not gonna lie, Samurai uses Jaden to carry certain situations, but it also works in the context of this show. And this one says Ninja Storm overall had better characters, better story, and a much better use of the source material. Samurai, yes, was the reintroduction for the new generation after the hiatus, but Ninja Storm took the ninja motif and ran with it throughout the marathon. Plus, the brother duo of Hunter and Blake, that legit is one of my favorite evil turn good stories. Disney seemed to handle that department well. Dude, 100% agree. 1000% agree. In this show, every Ranger felt like they had a role. No Ranger felt underutilized or a background Ranger. They all felt important, and that is very rare coming from the Power Ranger franchise to have every single Ranger feel important. And your last point about the evil Rangers is also 100% spot on. Disney just hired away with evil Rangers, and I want to make a separate video talking about that, but I want to mention at least a few. Trent Mercer, the Thunder Brothers, like you just mentioned, and I want to say Korak, but I don't know if he counts as an evil Ranger. I mean, he's evil, but is he a Ranger? There's a couple more I'm missing, so I'm going to talk about that later. And the next comment has nothing to do with the context of this video, but I'm still reading. Time Force is the undisputed king. I agree. I would 100% agree. Time Force runs laps around Ninja Storm and especially Samurai. And guys, when I tell you I was trying to find some positive Samurai comments to put in this video so I can have at least some contrast, but I only found like at least 3 out of 90. And one was a reply to another comment, so I'm not even going to use that one. But here's one. Shout out to you, by the way. I think it is nostalgia talking, but I grew up with Samurai and I like the story better. See, man, I see where you're coming from. I'm the same way. For the longest time, I thought Samurai was the holy grail. I thought Samurai was end all be all until I turned on Nicktoons one day and I saw Dino Thunder, and my whole life changed for the better. See, like that last comment said, Power Rangers Samurai was the starting point for most of the new Power Rangers fandoms. So I don't blame you for liking Samurai more than Ninja Storm because that's what you know. Samurai is your childhood, and I can't get mad at that. But with all that being said, time to move on to the last and final comment. Samurai, no ego from Jaden. Shane always had to be the biggest man on campus. I don't even know how to respond to this, so I'm just gonna put you on game. I don't necessarily think a Ranger being annoying or at least flawed is a bad character trait. For example, Nick from Mystic Force, I think he is very annoying, but he is still a 100% good Ranger. Even Mike from the show you're defending, Samurai, is very flawed, and I think that makes him interesting. That doesn't mean he's well written. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I would much rather watch a show with an annoying character than a boring character. Not saying Jaden is boring, but still, I feel like having a character that's not 100% perfect, especially in a superhero media like Power Rangers, just adds an extra layer to the show. But thanks for your opinions, thanks for your takes, everybody who commented, even if you didn't make it into the video, thank you. It really means a lot. I'm going to try to at least do 2 videos like this a week, so look out for the next poll if you want to participate. Power Rangers Operation Overdrive is not the worst Power Rangers show by far. If anything, I don't really think it's that bad. It's just bland. This show feels like you're eating unseasoned chicken. It surprises me that this show can have so many main antagonists and every single last one of them are just lame as hell. And it didn't help its case that it came out in the Disney era, an era that's considered to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest era in PR. So when you had this absolutely mid show, because it's not that bad, and you surrounded surrounded by absolute bangers, of course this show is going to be looked at as the black sheep of this era. And then the fandom still compares this show to shows like Megaforce and Ninja Steel. Megaforce and Ninja Steel! Operation Overdrive might be painfully mid, but there's no way you can compare it to Ninja Steel. At least in Operation Overdrive, they try something new instead of copying the same plot from the previous season. Ninja Steel. That's one thing I can say about this show. They tried to experiment. Even though the experiments fell flat sometimes, they still wanted to do something different and take the franchise in a different direction. Like having multiple main villains, like I mentioned earlier. The Red Ranger is a fucking robot like he's Zane from Ninjago. And the sad thing is, all of these risks didn't have good writing backing them. The story was bland, the writing bland as well, and it just all around made an enjoyable show with a mid premise. And I can definitely say this show is definitely the best of the worst Power Ranger shows. But hey, let me know what y'all think. Why is Power Ranger Samurai so overglazed? See, as somebody who grew up with Samurai, I think I have a pretty good idea on why it's glazed and praised over every other season. And look, I know I made this video before, but now I have a bigger audience and my opinions on Samurai changed because I rewatched the show recently. And I have to be completely honest, this show is overrated as hell. The first 5 to 10 episodes, bro, are completely boring. A lot happens, but nothing happens at the same time. For example, do y'all remember that episode where Jaden was trying to master the Beetle Disc, bro? In my mind, I'm thinking that's the best episode. That's a top 5 episode in the show. To keep it real, on the rewatch, this episode wasn't that good. The pacing was all over the place. And you might say, oh, well, they did it in the Sentai. The Sentai did it first. Buddy, I don't care. I did not watch the Sentai. But if we go back to what I just said, I said I remember it being good. I remember it being good because that's mostly what it is. It's the nostalgia in misremembering how good the show was. For most of the fan base, including me, this show is hella nostalgic. So I can understand why people say this is their favorite show in Power Rangers. To some people, this is their first Power Ranger show. This is their entry for a franchise, and this is their Power Rangers. And I'm not faulting anybody for liking Samurai. If you like Samurai, bro, good for you, bro. Like Samurai all you want. Because I personally like Samurai, but looking back at it, the show is not that good, but it still has a special place in my heart. And look, I want to say something positive about Samurai. I don't want to just spread negativity. Samurai, Super Samurai at that, is a big upgrade. From the first episode, they realized their problems with the first season and they actually made a fun episode. And Super Samurai Mode as a concept was amazing. It carried this second season. Having the Rangers use the power-ups depending on who's the focus of the episode is completely genius. It gives the writers a chance to expand the characters, give them some character arcs, and it also gives them some spotlight, makes them the most important Ranger of that episode. But to me, Samurai is just mid. It's okay. I don't dislike it that much. And at the end of the day, it's not that bad. It could be worse. It could be Ninja Steel. Like always, let me know what y'all think. Yo, the Thunder Rangers from Ninja Storm are just so intriguing. They just have so much nuance. They completely reinvented what it means to be an evil ranger. See, Tommy Oliver, he is the blueprint. He is the most impactful evil ranger. And for the most part, most evil rangers follow the same blueprint that Tommy set out. See, in Power Rangers, mostly every evil ranger follows the same format. They're being controlled by something or someone, and they end up becoming a part of the ranger team. I know that's not the case most of the time, but majority, that's the case. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It works for this franchise. It's a pretty good setup to have more Rangers on the team. And most of the time when they don't follow that format, the Rangers are amazing, except for the A Squad. They fucking suck. But I feel like Rangers like the Psychos and the topic of the video, the Thunder Rangers, are the most interesting evil Rangers we've ever had. And the thing is with the Thunder Rangers, they weren't even evil. They were just out for vengeance, out for blood. And it was reasonable. They thought the sensei was the person who offed their parents, bruh. But yes, I know they're not evil, but that bloodlust had to move in different though. Like, not only were they working with Lothor, they robbed the Wind Rangers and they almost killed them like at least 20 times. The most dastardly one is when they blew up their Megazord and went to go check on them after. And Blake also manipulated Tori into showing them the location of the Wind Ranger hideout. What type of evil conniving shit is that? And the crazy thing about all of this, they didn't necessarily hate the Wind Rangers. Hell, they helped them on multiple occasions. It was more of a thing like, oh, you're you're working for the dude who killed my parents, supposedly, so I'm just gonna beat your ass so I can get to his ass. And it makes it all the more crazy when they found out Lothar, the man who was supposed to help them get vengeance for their parents' murders, ended up being the man who is responsible for their parents' deaths. Just imagine that feeling, bro. This whole time you wasted time and energy hunting down innocent people, hunting down an innocent man who hasn't wronged you, fighting your friends, almost killing them, just to be doing the dirty work for the person who murdered your family, bro. That's just insane. And in a completely unnecessary move, a few episodes later, they end up being controlled by evil green, whatever the fuck that was. Slime, sludge. I just know that shit was weird, man. But let me know what y'all think about the Thunder Rangers. Power Rangers Time Force has absolutely no business being that good. Coming from one of the most underrated eras, being the post-Zordon era, this show is dead ass a gem. I remember when I was a little kid, like 9 years old, I watched it for the first time when it was on Netflix. Didn't really like it, watched like 5 episodes, couldn't get into it. But please cut me some slack, I was a little kid, I didn't know what I was missing. Fast forward, 2 years ago when I was 17, I watched it for the first time in full, and oh my gosh, it was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life. And when I tell you I was hooked by the first 2 episodes. Speaking of the first 2 episodes, what a way to start a show by killing off the Red Ranger, bro. That shit was iconic and it was insane. And this show is dead ass one of the only Ranger shows with no bad arcs. And it amazes me how this show straight up turned the Blue Ranger racing with his mutant homeboy into one of the best episodes in the show. Who thought of that? You know, our Blue Ranger is already kind of mid. Let's put him in an episode where he races his former mutant friend to the death. What the fuck? Okay, bro, anyway. But besides that, this show has so many amazing Rangers. And the standouts had to be Eric the Quantum Ranger, Jen the first ever leader Pink Ranger, and the GOAT Wes. Oh my gosh, Wes is him. It's crazy, they turned a Ranger with literally no reason to be a hero into one of the greatest Red Rangers in history. Like, yeah, his only reason to really become a Ranger is that he had the same DNA as the former Red Ranger who just died. I'm saying that with quotations. He died. And even though he didn't have the motivation of most Rangers, he did have the heart. This dude dead ass stood up to his dad. The dude was basically paying his bills. He pulled the Miles Morales by saying, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. He is him. And Eric is just as good. He resented Wes because he grew up in such a rich, sheltered lifestyle. He despised that he had basically everything handed to him. And their rivalry dead ass hit Tommy and Jason levels. This shit was insane. And them having different ideas of what can save humanity, and that ended up building up to them having a mutual respect for each other in the end of the season was just beautiful. And last but certainly not least, the greatest Pink Ranger of all time, Jen Scott. And if I'm being real, Jen is the best written character in that season. And I made 3 videos about this. Her whole revenge tour with Rancid was genuinely one of the best arcs in Power Rangers history. Like, this shit went through such a roller coaster. She found out her fiance was actually alive, and it all cultivated in the end of the show when she ultimately realized that Rancid was just as tortured as she was. And this little side tangent, right? I have a headcanon that Jen Scott is a descendant of Jason Lee Scott, the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. But that's a conversation for another day. Let me know what y'all think. Eric the Time Force Quantum Ranger, there is something wrong with him. That man has some deep-rooted issues, but that makes him such a good Ranger, bro. And they made him such an egotistical asshole, but he's still so cool though. It's hard to hate this dude. He is genuinely one of the greatest 6 Rangers we ever had. And he had the audacity, the absolute audacity to wear the same color as the Red Ranger, the GOAT Wes. And he absolutely deserves that shit. And he had so much confidence in himself, bro. I actually believe this dude couldn't lose. Can you blame me? This is the same dude who somehow finessed his way into getting the Quantum Morpher in the Q-Rex. And speaking of the Q-Rex, that is an actual demon. That is a demonic entity made out of metal. Why is that even allowed in this show? And that T-Rex was catching bodies, bruh. It was chomping down on trains, destroying buildings and shit. I'm like, bro. And I know half of that was because it was being controlled. But the Megazord battle mode, dude? Yeah, the Quantum Ranger didn't need a team, bro. He really didn't. Now the question is he a better Red Ranger than Wes? No. There's a reason the team chose Wes instead of Eric. Eric might have a better kit and his suit looks better, but he's just not Wes. But let me know what y'all think. Tyler Navarro from Power Rangers Dino Charge is a better Red Ranger than Jaden from Samurai. I swear to you, bro, if y'all Samurai Glaciers get in my comments talking about, well, Jaden has aura, where is his writing though? Does he have good writing? Does he have good character development? Does he have good story? Like, bro, I like Jaden, bro, but y'all be putting this man up to the moon when he's really not like that for real, bro. Like, I see y'all comparing him to Disney Red Rangers, bro. I'm not even sure he can touch Mac from Operation Overdrive. Okay, that's a lie. That might be a lie. And I can't pretend like Jaden doesn't have aura because he does. I'm not even going to lie and say I wasn't sitting up at that TV screen hype when he stabbed Master Xander with those 2 fire smashers. But I also can't pretend and act like Tyler is not all around a better Ranger. And bro, they gave him a personality. I know that's insane to say, but we rarely get that nowadays. Like, they actually get you invested as an adult into Tyler's story, bruh. And I also like how they gave the Rangers something to do. It wasn't just Tyler and his team had to defeat the big bad before he takes over Earth. It was also, dang, they have to look for these inner gems, and also Tyler has to look for his dad. Even when those plots are resolved, they still keep you on your toes. Like when they accidentally destroyed the Earth with a black hole, now they have to time travel to fix this shit, and they brought back the dinosaurs. Even though I think that ending is kind of ass, I don't really hate it, if that makes sense. But I'm getting off topic. I'm talking about the show, not the Rangers, so let me get back to it. But to me, Jaden is still cool. He's my first ever Red Ranger I seen on screen, and you can see what they wanted to do with him, right? But it just fell flat. I don't want to say his character is nothing but aura farming, but when you boil it down and rewatch this show, you realize, yo, what does he do? Like, bro, you clean, I see the fit, bro, you got that shit on, but how are you going to entertain me when you're not in a costume, when you're not morphed? And bro, this is not really a diss at the people who like Samurai. This is just a fun video, bro, so don't take it too serious, man. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think, and also let me know who's better. What are some of my least favorite Power Ranger suits? And look, I know most of you guys are not going to agree, but you got to hear me out. First of all, when are we going to stop pretending that the Lightspeed rescue suits look good? If somebody in the comments like these suits, please tell me why, because I literally cannot see it. The best thing about this design are the helmets. They completely match the first responder theme. They look okay. They're not the best helmets we've ever seen, but they still match the theme of the show. But from the neck down, bro, don't piss me off. We put 4 triangles on a torso and called it a day. There's not even any designs on the back. So y'all just said, fuck it, we just gonna do the front and put some gold accents around the suit. And look, man, it wouldn't be that bad if we at least had a design on the back. The back is completely naked. It looks so weird and awkward when you see these Rangers from the back. It's like they just gave up designing these suits halfway through the process. But moving on to the next abomination, we have the Lost Galaxy suits, bro. Oh my god. Some of these suits in certain colors are okay. Like the Red Ranger, yes, it still kind of sucks, but he's the most tolerable one. But you look at the fucking Pink Ranger suit, bro. What the hell is that? That helmet just fucking scares me, bro. That should have stayed a concept. That should have stayed on the drawing board. But don't worry, Pink, you're not the only one getting this treatment. I know I just said some of the suits look good, but you know what? I fucking lied. They got white crop top Charlie Brown shirts on, bro. I can't just move past that. It's bothering me. And the next 2 suits, I can just group them in together because they have the same problems. The Turbo and the Cosmic Fury suits are just incredibly plain. They have cool ass helmet designs, right? But that's it. But with the Turbo suits, I can kinda excuse it because they wanted them to look like car bodies. And yeah, they do a bit, but it's still unflattering. It does its job for a car themed season, but I don't know, it just, in some angles, it just doesn't look right. And with the Cosmic suits, bro, what the fuck? Those suits, man, they're just so incredibly boring, bro. And I always wonder, why do they never make Cosmic Fury toys? Why are there no Cosmic Fury action figures or merch? One of the reasons they can't let go of MMPR, even though the show ended over 30 years ago, and I can guarantee you kids these days have no idea what an MMPR is. But another reason I see, those suits are just unmarketable. They're ugly as hell. Like, we deadass have dinosaur space suits with fake abs on them. That was so unnecessary to add the fake foam abs. And I know they had the potential to make something good because we have Evil Ollie, one of the best designs in that show. A beautiful character design, but they couldn't follow through with the main team of Rangers. But don't get it twisted, even though I don't like the suits on this list, the shows that they come from are absolutely peak, like Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxy, some of the most amazing and underrated shows in Power Rangers. So amazing show, but terrible suits. But let me know what y'all think, and what are your least favorite Power Ranger suits?